Now that we've entered in citations, let's talk about footnotes and endnotes. In MLA style, notes are going to be optional. We have footnotes that are going to be at the bottom of the page, and then we have endnotes that'll be at the end of the document. And they're going to have note reference marks throughout the paper that basically reference where those are at, and they're going to be in numerical order. So first I want to go ahead and enter in a footnote. We want to make sure that the insertion point is to the far right of the period after the word point. We're going to come up here to insert. We're going to go down to footnote. Your footnote and endnote box is going to pop up. We want to make sure that footnotes are at the bottom of the page. We want to make sure that the number format is 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously, we can change these to whatever we want them to be, but for the MLA style, they need to be in the number order. And then we want to go ahead and hit insert. You'll notice right away that it adds a little 1 for a reference mark and that it's going to take us down to the bottom of the page. We're going to go ahead and enter in the footnote text. And it's going to be Cordova and Sarkis state that electronic Theodolites calculate angles automatically, and then send the calculated angles to a computer for analysis. Then we're going to do parentheses 25, parentheses again, period, and a space. Now we're going to go ahead and modify the style of the footnote. Footnote text is going to be, it has to be specifically, it needs to be left aligned, it has to be single spaced with 12-point font for the text to meet the MLA documentation styles. It's going to have to change to be double spaced with a first line indent and then 12-point font. So you'll notice that our default is not matching up with MLA style at this point. So we're going to modify the style. So we're going to go ahead and right click on the footnote. We're going to come over here to style. You'll notice that our style box is going to come up. And then it's going to say choose the style. And ours is already on footnote text. That's what we want. So we're going to come over here and we're going to go to the modify button. Notice here that it's going to say footnote text. The style's based off of normal, and we want to make sure that that is double spaced right now. So we're going to change that there. So it should still say Times New Roman 12 there. We want to make sure it's format here. Then we're going to click the format button. We want to change that to paragraph. We have our paragraph dialog box that pops up. We're going to change the special to first line, because remember our first line has to have an indent. And then the 0.5 is going to automatically pop up. We're going to go ahead and hit the OK button there. We'll notice that it shows that it's indented. And we're going to hit OK there. And then hit apply. You'll notice that it does the first line indent and double spaces that as well. Now we're going to enter in our source. When we type in the footnote for our research paper, the cited source hasn't been added to our master source list, so you notice that up here it hasn't been added in. So when we go to do our bibliography, it's not going to show up. So we need to go ahead and add that. So we're going to go to the citations pane, which we're already in here. We're going to go choose source manager. Or citation source manager right down here in the corner. Then we have our source manager box that's going to pop up. We want to go ahead and do new. We want to change this to a book. The author is Cordova, comma, Nicholas, no H, space E dot comma, semicolon, space Sarkis, comma, Kara, capital A, dot. So I'm going to take you just a second to get that all typed in. The title is going to be The Surveyor's Video Light Formula. The city is going to be Orlando. Then we're going to do the publisher. Publisher is Orange County Press. The year is 2012. Then we're going to hit the OK button. Notice that it shows up here now. We're going to hit the close button. Alright, so now we see that in our citation list. So we have both of those that will show up on our bibliography. Now, just a little quick deal. If we decided that we wanted to move this note to a different spot in the document, we could select the note and then we could mark it in the document, cut it, and paste it. So not down here, but right here in the document. You can select it, and we could cut it and paste it and so on and so forth. Or we could just take it and we could click on it and we can move it up. We're going to go ahead and enter in some more text. So after the reference mark, we want to make sure our insertion point is on the far right-hand side. So you might click your little arrow button. We're going to hit the return key. Notice we've got that first line indent. And we're going to type in the following paragraph. Similarly, the Nintendo Wii console uses triangulation to determine the location of a Wii remote, period, a player, places a sensor bar, comma, which contains 2 infrared transmitters, comma, near or on top of a television, period, while the player uses the Wii remote, comma, the Wii console determines the remote's location. By calculating the distance and angles between the Wii remote and the two transmitters on the sensor bar. Period, space. Determining the location of a Wii remote is relatively simple because the sensor bar contains only two fixed points, colon, the transmitters. Period. Alright, now I'm going to go through and fix all my mistakes. Alright. Last thing I want to show you in this video is the word count. You may be aware that down here it shows our words. We have 200 out of 235. If we place our insertion point down here, you'll see that it's 235 out of 235. So if you wanted to measure from a certain point, you can see out of how many of the total words. There's also another way that you can bring up the word count. So let's see. If you double click on the word count in the bottom, it's going to tell you the statistics. So it's going to tell you how many pages, how many words, how many characters you have with no spaces, and then how many characters you have with spaces. And remember, characters are letters and numbers, okay? How many paragraphs we have and how many lines we have. And notice that this includes footnotes and endnotes. So if specifically your professor or your teacher says that you have to have a certain amount of words or lines or paragraphs or whatever they choose, and it doesn't include footnotes and endnotes, if we uncheck it, notice that our totals change. Check it back and it goes back. So I just wanted to show you a couple of different options for that. We're going to hit the OK button on that one. We're going to go ahead and save it again. File, save as, W2-2, and replace it.